So in this first lesson, we're going to learn some pretty basic stuff. We're going to learn how to hold the guitar. We're going to learn how to pick the strings, how to make sound on it. And we're going to learn about the parts of the guitar. And at the very end of the lesson, we're going to learn our first song. Okay, so let's talk about the parts of the guitar. It's important to know what they're called so that when I'm teaching you and I'm saying different words that you understand what they mean. So the parts of the guitar. So this part here, well, let's backtrack just a little bit. There's two main types of guitar. There's acoustic guitars, like this one, and there's also electric guitars. And these lessons, they'll work for either electric or acoustic. In the majority of the lessons, I'm going to be using an acoustic, but acoustic and electric guitars, the way you play a note is all the same. So, and the parts are mainly the same as well. I'm going to show you the parts on the acoustic first, and then I'll switch to electric and show you the parts of that are different for those of you playing electric. So we have the body. This big piece of wood here is the body of the guitar. And this hole here on an acoustic, you won't see this on electric. This is called the sound hole, and that's where the sound comes out of the guitar when I play a chord or a note. It's kind of what makes the sound louder or amplifies it. Okay, then this piece here where we play all of our notes, this is called the neck. This is called the neck of the guitar. And this here, this is called the head of the guitar. And on the head of the guitar, we have these things right here, which are called tuners or tuning pegs. And this is what we use. We turn these, and it loosens or tightens this string to make sure that we tune the string to the right note so that when you play the strings together, it sounds in tune. So we're going to get more into that later when we talk about how to tune your guitar, but these are tuners or tuning pegs. This is the head. This is the neck. This is the body. And on the body here, this piece of wood right here where the strings attach, this is called the bridge. This is where the strings attach, and then the strings, which are these are called strings. Some people make the mistake of calling them chords, but they're strings. There's 6 of them on your guitar. They attach here at the bridge, and they go all the way up and attach here to the tuning pegs right there. Okay, so we have body, neck, head. On the neck, we have these silver metal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. These are what divide the neck into spaces so that we know each of these spaces on each string plays a different note. So the fret is what divides the neck up into different notes. So the silver piece there, these are called frets. So now let me show you on an electric guitar. So on an electric guitar, we still have the body. It might be shaped differently, but it's still this big piece of wood right here. We have our neck. We still have our head, might be shaped differently. We have 6 tuners for each string, just in a different alignment. There's 6 on top instead of 3 on top and 3 on bottom like our acoustic. We still have frets. Still have 6 strings. The only thing different about electric guitars, we have these right here. These are called pickups. Some electric guitars have 2, some have 3, some might just have 1. But this is takes the place of the sound hole on the acoustic. So on electric, this pickup does exactly that. It picks up the sound of the strings, it electrifies it, and then you have volume controls. These are the volume controls. And then it goes out with a cord or a wire, more or less, to a speaker, an amplifier, and that's how the sound is amplified or gets louder. So basically the same. You play, all the notes are the same, It just sounds different. An electric just sounds different than an acoustic. So it just really depends on your preference or whatever guitar you happen to have. But as far as the lessons go, it works for both. Every lesson works for both. Even if I'm playing on an acoustic, you can play the same notes, same technique on electric. So now that we know about the parts of the guitar, let's talk about how to hold it, okay? So the easiest way to hold your guitar is on electric or an acoustic, there's usually this curve right here in the bottom. And that curve will sit right over your thigh. And I'm setting it on my right thigh. So if you're right-handed, you'd set it on your right thigh. If you're left-handed, you'd probably set it on your left thigh. And it kind of helps stabilize the guitar so it's not sliding off of your leg. Okay, so that's where you put that. So up here, your right hand, if you're right-handed, is going to be your strumming hand, or your pick hand, where you pick or strum the strings here. You're going to rest your forearm, or this part of your arm, on the body of the guitar right here, and then just kind of let your hand hover over these strings, like this. You can rest your palm right here, this part of your palm, on the bridge, if that helps keep you more stable. And in your right hand is where you're going to be holding your pick. And this is important, how you hold your pick. The pick is what you use to strike the strings. So it's just a little piece of plastic, comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes. Doesn't really matter, whatever you're comfortable with. But you're going to hold it between your thumb and your first finger, like that. And you're going to use the tip, the pointy part of the pick right here, to strike the string. And I usually like to plant my palm either on the bridge or on the body somewhere, because it kind of helps stabilize my hand. If it's just floating out here, it's a little harder to control. But whatever's comfortable, sometimes you can put your fingers down here and have some control. So you're going to pick it. We're just going to pick any string you want, but we're going to pick just in a downward motion. But you don't have to go real far, you'll bump other strings. So what we're trying to do right now is just pick one string. Or so that's how you would pick a note. And that's something you can just play around with, practice as much as you want until that feels comfortable. Just picking the different strings. Okay, so now let's take a look at your left hand. So your left hand is very important to get this right. You want to be able to arch your fingers around to play these notes. So it's important where you put your thumb on the neck. And if you can see in that, my thumb is bent backwards, not like that, on the back or kind of close to the top or back of the neck. You can slide that around wherever is most comfortable for you, but you can see that it's on the back of the neck, and then you wrap your hand around to put your fingers down and play notes. So if I play, you see how my thumb is on the back of the neck, like that. Now, your fingers that are actually going to be pressing down on the strings to play a note, you want to play it on the tip of your finger, not the pad. This is the pad. You want to be on the tip, right there on the edge of your finger. That's where you'll want to be pressing down on the string, on the tips of your fingers. And this is going to make your fingers kind of sore at first, especially if you play a lot. But over time, the tips of your fingers will get hard with what is called a callus. Your skin will callus, and it'll be a little harder, and then it won't be sore anymore. So at first, it's going to be a little bit sore. So thumb on the back of the neck, wrap your hand around so your fingers are really nice and arched. Not like that. You don't want to be like that. You want to be like that. This is no good. This is good. There should be some space between the bottom of the neck here and my palm. You don't want to get in the habit of doing that, resting your palm on the bottom of the neck. So that's how we do it. Okay, so now that you know how to hold the guitar, we are going to play our first melody, something you're really familiar with, called Three Blind Mice, or some people call it Hot Cross Buns. Okay, so now we're going to learn our first song or melody. It's Three Blind Mice, and it sounds like this. Okay, so we're going to be playing this all on one string, and it's this first string right here. It's actually on the bottom, so actually it's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The thinnest string, okay? But really, you could play it on any string. But for this lesson, we're going to play it on the first string. And then it's up to you. You can practice it on any string that you like. So we're going to start on the 4th fret. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you fret a note, you don't want to be right on top of that metal piece. You want to be just behind it. So you can count the frets, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can count the spaces, really, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right behind that metal fret, put your 3rd finger. Make sure you're on the tip of your finger, and I want you to then pick that string one time. Just a nice simple downstroke with your pick. Then we're going to go to the 2nd fret with our 1st finger. Now you got to push down pretty hard. You don't want to be getting this sound. If you're getting that sound, you're not pushing down hard enough. So push down harder. And the 2nd fret. Then just the open string. We call that open string, meaning we're playing that string without any fingers down. So we got and then you play that again, same thing. 4, 2, open. Okay, so again, make sure you're pressing down hard. You're right behind the fret. You're on the tip of your finger. Thumbs on the back of the neck. You might be wanting to play it all with one finger and moving it around. You can do that, but really it's kind of a bad habit to develop. The reason I'm starting with my 3rd finger is because then my 1st finger is already hovering right here over the fret that needs to be played next, or the note that needs to be played next. So I'm right there ready to play the 2nd note. Instead of having to go and shift my whole hand back, I can just nice and easy. So we do that twice. Then we hit the open string again 4 times. And then the 2nd fret 4 times. And then the same thing we did at the beginning. 4, 2, 0. So the whole thing sounds like this. So, I want you to really, really practice that, and you can also practice it on other strings. It's always on one string. And it's always the fourth, second, and open string. So you could play it right here on the second string above the one we were just playing on. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So I want you to practice that. If you need to pause the video at any time to practice and then catch up with me, that's perfectly fine. Actually, you should probably do that frequently throughout the lessons. But once you get that down, congratulations, you've just played your first song on guitar.